Hi, it's Robbie from Southern California. So we're still in summer and the hummingbirds are still here big time. I haven't noticed any swarms coming through, large amount of hummingbirds that normally aren't here this time of the year. But I have gotten some messages from a few of you telling me that your hummingbirds have left, which I find really interesting. Here they start coming in heavy in September. More in the middle, that's when the orioles leave and they go down south because that's where they winter since it's nice and warm there. Gee, maybe I should go there. But anyways, I want to know where you are. So when you come in and tell me, hey, my hummingbirds have left, I put the feeders out, they're not there, I'm more fascinated to know what area you're living in. I don't want your address. We don't all need to be knocking on your door saying, hey, I found your hummingbird down there. I just want you to tell me, hey, I'm in Southern California, in Texas somewhere, I'm in Oregon. I'm really fascinated on that because every year has been different. And last year we had here in Southern California a very warm winter, which kept a lot of the hummingbirds here. And that's why I want to know, maybe we're going to get a lot of rain, maybe, who knows, maybe they ran out of food, or they're just traveling earlier and slower, maybe. There's a lot of maybes there, aren't there? So I'm very fascinated on that. So when you come in and you leave those comments like, oh, the hummingbirds are gone already and we're only in August right now, also put in the comment where you are. Again, not your address, not your phone number, not your family's numbers. Just, I'm in wherever. Maybe the city and the state, that would be good because I'd like to keep track of that. And I know a lot of us would, because this way, if other people are going through that, then they can read the comments in there and think, oh, they are leaving. Or somebody may not have that many hummingbirds. You may be up in Washington, for example, and you're saying, your hummingbirds left, but somebody in Oregon suddenly has got a whole bunch of them coming in. They'll be able to read your comment and say, wow, they're traveling south already and they're coming through now Oregon, because you can kind of track them that way, even across the United States, the way they, migrate through. So it'd be really fascinating, I think, if you can just also state in here, this would be a good video to do it. Where are your hummingbirds? How are you with the hummingbirds right now? Do you have a lot? Have you noticed the number change? Here for me in Southern California, our numbers are the same. We do have less in the summer because most of them go up north and there's a lot of flowers. It's cooler in some places, but then they can go in the mountains when it's really warm. Some of them go all the way to Alaska. Can you imagine? From Southern California all the way up to Alaska, but then they got to work their way down. So you may have them, let's say, in your area, and then suddenly you may be telling me, I'm just using the West Coast right now as an example. You might be saying you don't have any and you want to pull your feeders in, but don't pull your feeders in yet, because the ones from Alaska, if for instance you're in Washington, let's say the Washington ones left and they're heading down, the ones from Alaska may be passing through soon too. So you wouldn't want to pull your feeders down completely. If you've got a lot of feeders out, leave at least one or two out. I mean, I have dozens and dozens. I haven't even counted them. I don't want to know. It might frighten me. But the point is, I'd like to follow them, and I think a lot of us would, and just leave your city and the state. And then other people can comment and say if they've got a lot or whatever. Now, my numbers here in Southern California will grow a lot, probably in the middle of September. So we'll go from, let's say, I don't know, let's use for an example, 1,000 birds right now, feeding for the day. We'll end up in the middle of September, we could go to 2,000 or 3,000. Now, why? Because of the dreaded orioles. Our orioles used to come through with 1 or 2 pairs originally. That's how it all started just a matter of maybe 5 years ago. We'd have 1 or 2 pairs. Now we have dozens of pairs, and they really create havoc here because the hummingbirds don't like them. They don't hurt the hummingbirds that are here feeding, but I will say they're not good for the environment here as far as the area if they're nesting. And the reason is orioles are carnivorous. They eat insects, they'll eat anything small, and that does include baby hummingbirds. So a lot like your scrub jays and other birds will too. So they have to be more mindful, the hummingbirds, as to where they're building their nest now, because the amount of orioles. If I could, and I had a choice, I would try to get some of them to move on. But now that the orioles have found a place where we have a lot of fruit, we have a lot of insects, you know, the more plants you have, the more insects you have, but that brings in more birds. So I don't notice the insects unless I cover it with tulle and a moth or something gets in there and then the tulle is protecting the insects, then I've got insects under the tulle. But when there's no tulle there covering, let's say, my lettuce or something, then the orioles can get in there and they get into, let's say, tomatoes, flowers, anything, lettuce, cabbage, it doesn't matter, any brassicas, you know, kale. If there's little caterpillars in there, they love that, the orioles. And the more insects they find, the more they stay around because they absolutely need insects. Hummingbirds, on the other hand, eat tiny insects, which I don't provide them really that much unless I'm setting up a tote for, let's say, fruit flies. But otherwise, they go into spider webs around the house in different areas and they pick out the tiny insects, which they need because the insects provide calcium for them and other nutrients as well. So we need to have a balance, and right now the balance is perfect for all the orioles that have decided to set up nests. And here's the thing, they could be miles away and they will come here to feed, to get nectar and insects, and then go back to wherever they're nesting, because they tend to use banana plants, which we have around here, palm fronds, palm trees they love. So anything that they can build, they weave a nest in there, that's where they nest. And they have found a lot of stuff around here that makes the perfect nesting site, which also creates havoc and problems for the hummingbirds. So they've got to tuck themselves away. They used to nest a lot here out in the open, and now they don't. They have to go into the bushes where they can fly, which makes it a little more difficult because of their wingspan. They have to be able to land on something. I just made some ant moats. They have to be able to land on something and be able to move around. Unlike, let's say, a sparrow that can land and jump and get into a tree, a hummingbird has to have just so much room for their wingspan to fly into where they're nesting. So the nesting sites are different. Those are my guineas making noise right now. They hear me talking, so they're talking to me. So we've had like things change around here. So we have to hunt for the nests now because of the orioles. Though I'm thinking of building some hummingbird nests, and don't go buy them. I have seen fake hummingbird nests where you can buy it and the hummingbirds will build a nest in there. They do not. But I do know how to build where hummingbirds would nest. So that's a big difference. So don't buy anything because hummingbirds do not use a nest box. They don't use anything like that. So that's what's going on. So I figured I'm standing out here. I just did a video on ant moats, and I thought I would kind of chit chat with you a little bit because I was really fascinated and interested that a few of you have come in and said you're about ready to put your hummingbird feeders away because there's no more hummingbirds. And I thought, whoa, that's really early for the hummingbirds to leave. Usually they're leaving more in the beginning of September because they move pretty quick when they're moving. You know, they're going down south, they're really moving fast. But I don't know if they ran out of food or they figured it was a good time to start moving. I am not sure. I'm surrounded in hummingbirds, you can't even see that. But I'm just fascinated. I'm interested, and so is so many of us. So go ahead, tell us what you've got. Say you've got more. That's fascinating. You've got the same. You've got less. And again, if you don't have that many today, give it a few days. Give it at least 2 weeks solid of not seeing any hummingbirds. And remember, sometimes just because you didn't see them doesn't mean they're not there. But once you know they're gone, then you can bring in your hummingbird feeders. But you may be catching the ones that are flying by, and when you have your feeder out, they may stick around for a while and go, whoa, there's a lot of food here. Maybe I should stay here for a while. So keep that in mind. So I'll be reading all these comments, and so will all of us too in our hummingbird community here, because so many of us are fascinated with the movement and everything about these wonderful little birds. With that, have a wonderful day, and don't forget to eat what you grow. Bye-bye. I should turn you around. I know you can't see. Oh, they all left because I moved. But I've got feeders through here, and they were all just hanging up there. And the moment I turn it, now they're all coming behind. But they're just fascinating little guys. They're watching me. And I hear a lot of birds coming in right now. I'm hoping you can hear that. Those are not hummingbirds. Those are a lot of little birds. Let me see if I can get you to move this way. No, you can't see. So we have an orange tree here, and they hang out in the orange tree. They love the orange tree. They don't eat the oranges, but you know what? The woodpeckers do. They make a little hole. If you've ever found an orange with a little hole, they sit there and they drill until they get inside, and then they suck the juice out. I think that's so cool. Yeah, you can't see them. But every time I move, they move. I can turn around this way. Let me see. Like I said, I've got hummingbird feeders everywhere, but the tree is full right now. There's so many birds. We have hundreds of spice finches, and that's not a hummingbird. It's a little brown bird that is not native, but they've, been introduced here. And the first time they were on the deck yesterday, so that was really fascinating because it's really not the right habitat. We set that up in the bird garden, so they come in literally by the hundreds. It all started with a few, but now they have found the deck, and I thought it was too open, and we always thought they would never come here. Surprise! They found the deck yesterday, but only a couple. I'm gonna see if I can turn you around, because when I move, they move. Hold on. I told you they're there. Every time I move, they move. They're in the trees. I know it's hard to see, but they're in the trees, and they just sparkle in there. Anyways, the life of a person feeding hundreds and thousands of hummingbirds. Anyways, go ahead and leave your comments, and we're all going to read them and see if you've got hummingbirds still, or if they're headed your way. A lot of them park themselves here, and they're here all winter. So we enjoy thousands of hummingbirds all winter, and that's going to be fun. Hopefully I can get that out there and show you this winter how many hummingbirds we really have. So with that, have a wonderful day, and don't forget to eat what you grow. Bye-bye.